How's it going, everyone? This is Carpo here for a second evening video. I guess that's assuming I upload the first one, but this is about an hour later. Hear my dog barking there. I actually went in there and I gave my dog a bath, and I thought it would be a good time to come out and take a breather because I'm actually sweating after that. He's a Norwegian elk hound / Akita mix, as far as we know. And medium-sized Spitz dog. He's got quite an attitude, and he's about 13. And he's only had about 3 baths in his life, so he does not like baths. And anybody who has Spitz dogs know that they have an undercoat that is very thick, completely different from many other breeds of dog. All my friends have always had just like, coarse-haired dogs, breeds where they could just give them a bath and they're good to go. But with a dog with an undercoat, it's a completely different story. So anyhow, I finally got around to giving him a bath, and he was nasty, of course. And now he's in there barking and running around and making a mess with his wet fur. So I came outside to make a video and take a bong hit, and I'm out here with this some really fine cannabis. It kind of tastes like, like Fruit Loops cereal, and I'm not sure, can't remember what kind it is. I wasn't even going to mention that factor, but I thought, it's really weird. As I was walking out, I was thinking, well, what's the point in mentioning that I'm smoking pot? And I thought, it's weird, people casually drink beer or wine or, go out and have a shot of whiskey, and it's only been in recent years that cannabis has become accepted to where I can say, yeah, I'm smoking some fine cannabis, and it's legal, and but I can't say the same thing for all the other states, and that's what's unfortunate, is that I can sit here and legally smoke pot, and so many people are still sitting in prison in places like, Kentucky. In some of these states, Mississippi, Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia, they have preposterous cannabis laws. It's really weird how these red states, which are not really red, if you ever looked at the counties, it's completely different from that. There's no red and blue states, there's red and blue counties. But even then, there's gerrymandering, and it turns to be red and blue blocks or neighborhoods. It's very complicated the way that politics work. But red and blue means really nothing. It's just who you believe. And I'd say that red and blue states should both disappear, and there should be nothing but, clear states. Clear means clear-minded. Voting independently for, who you believe is the legitimate candidate, and voting for the issues that are important, but also voting to allow other people to do what they wish. There's nothing wrong with voting for something that you support, but voting against something that allows others to have freedom, such as gay marriage, cannabis, legalization, all these things, shows ignorance, because all the places, like Portugal or otherwise, where things have been legalized, there has been no increase in crime or drug usage. It's quite the opposite. In other words, we can look to other nations and see where we've gone wrong and where we could do better. The things that we claim to be as Americans, that's difficult, because if I can sit here and legally smoke pot and somebody in my same country can't, that's just preposterous. Somebody who's sitting in jail right now for a joint, and the prison system is a bust. It's a setup for, I won't even go into that because it's a very dark place to go. The prison system is nothing more than a business. The example being that 6% of the population is black, 6.5% in America, but 40% of the people in prison are black. Does that say that blacks are criminals and that they're more likely to commit crimes? No. It says that the system is rigged against them. Things like crack cocaine have long sentences, while regular cocaine doesn't. And because it tends to be the white man's drug. Call it what you will, and I don't mean to get into that dark conspiracy shit, but it's true. These things happen, and they have to be spoken about. Our freedoms are being invaded. The ability for me to sit here on YouTube and talk about whatever the fuck I want and say fuck you if you don't agree, pardon my language, that's imperative to me. That's important. And I've heard a lot of people say that YouTube channels are being censored, and I usually say, pucha, I don't know if that's true or not. If that is true, I'd say, we need to fight against that for sure. But I think what most people mean by censored is that they can't get companies to pay them anymore for advertising on YouTube. And the truth is, you got to remember, YouTube is a platform. I'm grateful to be able to post my videos here and have somebody else deal with the processing, somebody else on that end, and storage and everything. And if I lose my computer, I do understand that the internet, traps everything we say. I've made upwards of 4,000 videos, and it blows my mind that I've uploaded so many videos. But it doesn't mean that all of them hold any importance. Of course not. It's just my way of sharing. But I've never had any of mine out of those 3,500, 4,000 ever edited or pulled or removed for any reason. So I would imagine that it's more of a matter of me not ever wanting to advertise and not giving a shit about profits or money. And that's what I love. I love being able to stand here in the evening, look around at my neighborhood at night, and take a bong hit and talk about what matters to me, But not just me. I know a lot of you have very similar feelings about certain things, and others you disagree with, and that's what's great about being human. We all have our own opinions. Unfortunately, the American way of life has convinced us that the rest of the world is scary and all the other countries are fucked up and that we're in the greatest country on earth. And I'll tell you, that's complete nonsense. The whole idea of this whole patriotism thing, and I won't even go into what's going on in the football right now because it's only relevant to the moment, and I try to avoid modern or current events because it just goes nowhere. This is a couple hundred football players, protesting the anthem. To me, I say let them go for it. It's not about the anthem. Protesting the anthem was never about being against the country. It's about showing for them, that's the only way they can show how they feel about the current state of affairs. And can I blame them? No, of course not. And, I find what's going on in my own country preposterous. I think, the whole thing, and it's not, I won't even defend it anymore or argue against it. We have a complete moron in office who never grew up. He's playing dick size with a foreign leader, which also has an ego problem. Combined between them, less than 7 years of political experience and even less dealing with people in general that actually matter. Neither one of them have ever been told no, and they both have launch codes and nuclear weapons. I get the weird feeling that eventually somebody will launch, and there will probably be an EMP, and what happens then? Then I can't make YouTube videos anymore. No, I'm kidding. If that shit ever hits the fan, well, I wish you all well. I'll tell you, if the power ever goes out, keep an eye on the headlines. Trump is a provoker, and I won't go any further than that, because we have some other idiots in office in other countries that are also provoking people. But beyond them, there are a lot of great places to live, and there's a delusion that America's the greatest place. I watched, what was it, America, no, it was, I know how people feel about Michael Moore. I won't even go into that. Sure, he can look like a slob, whatever. The point is that his facts are facts. And where to invade next, or where should the U.S. invade next, or where should we invade next, is a great documentary. I finished watching it. I watched the first half, then I watched the second half, and I'm glad I finished it because, there were so many great countries with great points over there, and I know that there's cognitive bias, there's confirmation bias. We find what we want to, and we find the answers we want. But the fact is, America doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to live in a country where I can sit here and smoke cannabis and do what I please, and you in another state in the same country cannot. Not because there's anything wrong with something, but because your elected officials don't think it's good for you to consume a substance, let's say. And I'm just using cannabis as one example, but I'm sure wherever you live you can drink alcohol, you know? Then of course some can't drink alcohol on Sunday, so that's a different story altogether. But I didn't mean to come out here and sit here and rant, and talk about, politics or what's going on in the world, but the fact is that we all live in this world, and that's what it is. It's a complication, a balance between taking action and enjoying life, and that's what's hard, is figuring out where to take action, where to give a damn, where to try to make a difference. Everybody wants to be part of something. It's like the old thing, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. I've been in too many arguments where people, pretend like they believe in something, and then by the end they're like, well, I don't know, anything's possible. I'm like, well, then don't pretend like you know. But the whole thing being that none of us really know for sure what's going on in the big picture. For God's sake, we have, all these new scientific discoveries as well as religious history, and neither one of them have ever figured out where we're really from, where we're really going, or even what life's all about or what things are made of. Some things are, it's not that we never will, it's just that the riddle for me is, life is amazing. I'm grateful to be here. Sometimes I think I don't want to upload a video like this because it's embarrassing, I'm talking about dumb shit. And then I end up doing it because I think, why not? It's a piece of history regardless, why should I care? It's not me. It's just this personality, whether I'm a collection of my own thoughts, a collection of some spiritual essence, or a soul, or a spirit, or a demon, as some people would think, or even the idea that I may be just a walking bag of bacteria that uses me as a carrying case, and that the bacteria are our gods, and that viruses use us as, slaves. Go for it. Believe whatever you want, anything's possible. But anyhow, those are my thoughts on life. So, looks like my oldest son's home, and that's the perfect cue to go, because I have some things to do anyway. I will talk to you all later. Have a wonderful evening. Maybe I'll videotape him. I'll see if he has any words of wisdom. Just got home from work. Hey!
Jesus Christ.
You got any words of wisdom?
God damn it. That's it.
That's it?
That's
Nothing?
It. Nope.
Alright.
No.
Just making sure.
Not today. Don't drink too much booze.
Don't drink too much booze. There you go. That's one anybody can adhere to.